Hi everybody, this is Christy. I am the Intimate Warrior. I thank you so much for stopping by, and as always, I send you love. Well, oh, isn't this hilarious? So I'm going to do my best to get this video to you to give you proper understanding. My perspective, how I've come across this information, and as you can see, I'm very emotional. I wanted to make this video yesterday, but there was so much information that I was overwhelmed. So I just didn't make it. I took some time, recomposed myself, and now here I am today. And although I am very emotional, please excuse me as I adjust my microphone. And please, if you have any suggestions about a microphone or a headset, I prefer headset microphone combination because I do use my cell phone, of course, to record. If you have a recommendation for one that does work the best for this type of scenario, I live on a very busy highway, so you guys pick up on a lot of that sound. Although these are supposed to be noise canceling headphones, I know you guys do hear the background noise. And I think someone tried to give me a recommendation a while back. I ended up having a notification, but could not get to YouTube in order to see the comment because of the way that YouTube sometimes works, where comments are not actually added. I might have a notification, but the comments are not accessible. So please keep in mind that if you are ever leaving a comment within my videos and I don't get back to you pertaining to it, please know that I am not ignoring you. Please know that through the algorithm of YouTube or whatever is going on, I don't always have access to comments. I am not ignoring you. So if you do have something really to really express towards me that you really want me to hear, my email is always attached to my videos. And of course, if I am getting my notifications, depending on whatever is going on in my own reality, upgrades, the energy, of course, I may not also get your notification as well. But I will always find the time. Once I remember to check my emails, I will get back to you as soon as I can. So please bear with me in those instances. So I've been trying to get a video here to you guys in reference to this new moon coming up on July. But it hasn't worked out that way, and I think I was actually trying to do the full moon in Aquarius, is what I was trying to say there. And so as I was doing some research based upon information that I was being given, regardless of if it's connecting with the full moon in Aquarius, with the sun is going to be in Leo at that time, and my instincts is telling me yes, it is. So it's as we get to different levels of our process, of course we are learning about different areas. I have worked my way from the Bible to all other types of religions, to ancient history, to sacred symbols. You guys know what I'm talking about. We are going to go all across the board. So I ended up getting a symbol a while back, about a week or so, a couple of symbols. The circle with a dot in the center. That is called the Circumpunct. Circumpunct. If I am pronouncing that correctly or incorrectly, please excuse me. And Circumpunct is how you correctly pronounce it. And so I was like, well, I've seen this before. Not just as a sacred symbol, but something else. So the circle with the dot in the center, regardless of your understanding or what it is, it means the solar system. It's also connected to Ra. It means the sun or sun, God. It's the point of creation, if you will. And then I'm going to just tell you what I've been dealing with. Then I ended up seeing a few days later the circle with the line division. So as I was, dealing with trying to figure out these messages on a deeper level, other than being on my journey back towards Source, I was thinking, I've seen this other than the fact of when I was working towards my spiritual growth here. And it takes you back to the element of hydrogen. Or the compound of hydrogen. And hydrogen is found in every single thing. Whether Earth, your body, a table, the sky, the stars. And then I got to thinking, well, hydrogen, and in doing some research or going back and looking at the atom, excuse me, atom. The atom reminds me of the cosmic egg. So there's that, and I have been talking about the cosmic egg anyway, or the golden egg, or golden embryo. So I wanted to mention that as well. Now, when you're looking at the hydrogen atom, or you don't even have to look at the hydrogen atom anyway, but hydrogen contains 1 electron and 1 proton. So I want you guys to please bear with me. So a hydrogen, I'm not sure what I just said there, has 1 electron and 1 proton. 1 positive and 1 negative. Now let's go back and think in terms of source here. God can signify the circle. And God divided itself into a proton and an electron. 1 positive, 1 negative force. Creating masculine and feminine aspects of self. This is the Holy Trinity. And I tell you guys, I have been really getting extremely deep here, or for myself, and trying to understand on a deeper level that I've never moved towards, how to incorporate science now into spirituality. Although we all know there's sacred geometry, math, all that stuff is interlinked. But how do you really know at a cellular level of what it is? Now, when we are at that higher level of this Holy Trinity, again, please bear with me as I just talk. We are at the top now of the tree of life, because we are on that many cycles of descent, ascent, descent, ascent. I told you, in cycles of 3. Yet, even within every single level of that cycle of 3, there are levels, okay, that we cannot rush. But we have to incorporate the Holy Trinities within the self of the spiritual bodies. We have to incorporate the Holy Trinities within, which coincide with the top of the tree, the middle of the tree, the lower aspects of the tree. Your spiritual bodies have to be integrated. The very top of the tree is the absolute, which still has been divided into 3 sources: neutral, positive, and negative. The sun and the moon both have a positive and a negative aspect. So I was thinking, how does the sun in Aquarius now? The sun is in Leo, beginning April the 23rd or April 22nd, and the full moon in Aquarius is on the 23rd. The sun in Leo. The sun, we know, is in relationship to Source, but it also works within our heart, and so does Leo, which means it's working through spirit, our spirit, or the spirit. The moon being full, though, the moon now is in association with our root, or the sexual region, or even the womb. It being full signifies completion. In Aquarius, being water. Aquarius is water. We all know that the age of Aquarius is highly significant in terms of consciousness. Nothing can be birthed without water. So as I began to think in terms of elements here, or the atom, or even hydrogen now, I was like, well, what does hydrogen and then water create? Have you ever done research or heard about, miracles in water or something like that? Art through the water, living water. Of course, living water is mentioned in the Bible. But there is a scientist, and please excuse me, I do not recall the name, that ended up doing some studying about water, how if you play music or speak to water and then freeze that water, it creates a design. And so how does this all work together? When we have water, hydrogen mixed together, you create something very special, which is going to require 2 hydrogens, H2O. Water. Water is highly significant. We all know that in the Bible. It speaks about water is life. Water is life. Now, what does this signify within you? It also mentions that you are the salt of the earth. I've mentioned in some of my sacred secretion videos, maybe I have one that's labeled cell salts. I don't know. I haven't really checked. That speaks about the importance of cell salts. When you begin working through your sacred secretion and accumulate all of the salt, what happens is salt crystallizes, or it is a crystal. It's a crystal in its natural form. When it's added to water, which is a representation of spirit now, the Holy Spirit, also in relationship to the CSF, because that's what it's about when we raise the sacred secretion through our lunar cycles. We accumulate all 12 salts, which 1 + 2 = 3. 3 is always the golden number, one of the golden numbers. When salt is added to water, of course we have salt water. The ocean. This earth consists more of ocean water than not. There's a small percentage of fresh or clean water within this reality. Salt water is essential, and you can create salt water within your body. And what this really signifies is that without salts in our body, water, when it freezes or can become frozen in time, freezes completely. It takes less, a higher temperature to freeze a body without salt than it does a body with salt. So it has to be much colder to freeze water with salt. The ocean water has, of course, tons of salt, and it takes a lower temperature, I think of 28 degrees or so, to freeze. So when you combine hydrogen and oxygen, you can create water. And when you add your salt, or more specifically cell salts, to the mix, you have a perfect balance of positive and negative, but also the ability to crystallize at a perfect state. I hope all of this makes sense. And let me kind of the science behind this, though, if I can. When we actually die, and what is left within our body, whether we are put to ashes or the skeleton is still in remains, the 12 cell salts is what remains within our structure. So when we have accumulated all of our 12 salts, we of course are making our way back to source. But it's within the combination of God source, the balance of hydrogen, the balance of spirit and water, that mixes with our cell salts. So we have our hydrogen, we have our source. We will have water because spirit is water through the act of raising our sacred secretion via the CSF. We accumulate salt, which allows our body to crystallize. Oh, I know. I am not, I could be talking better. I could be speaking about this at a greater rate here. I hope I am making sense with you guys. I've been integrating a lot of things and going through my own little upgrades here. It's very an emotional time for me, so I'm a little shaky. Although, all of this, you can see this. I've read about this early on in my process. It's very interesting. It was very interesting when you look at the atom and you see things, you're like, oh yeah, oh wow, that's interesting. But in order for things to really hit you deep, there's a spark that has to go off. Remember, an experience is your spark. When you have an experience because you are learning about yourself, what you read about, whether in the past, what you've heard about, whether in the past or future, or currently, will reach you on a different level, making sense. We are all made out of atoms, and these atoms have positive and negative charges. We are always attempting to balance those negative and positive aspects of self. So let me, now I'm thinking a little bit more, which I meant to put in this video anyway. The 3 higher planes. When you integrate the 3 aspects or the 3 spiritual bodies within your physical form, you have the higher aspects of the Father, Son, and Spirit, or Father, Mother, and Child. The Holy Spirit is the spark. That's the secret. And maybe in Christianity, maybe that's why they have left out the mother principle, to keep us from identifying with the Holy Spirit. Without the mother, there cannot be no child. There can't be a child. No child. Excuse me. There can't be a child. The feminine aspect of self is necessary in order to birth all of creation. Then, when you are ready to integrate these 3 levels of 3 aspects of the Trinity within your spiritual bodies, what is going to happen is that the 3, 6, 9 are going to line up within your Hara line. Also, the 12, because there is that hidden God source divided into 3 at the very, very, very top, which is the, the Ein Sof, and Ein Sof Or aspects, which is the unfolding of the Logos. That is everything and beyond the absolute. When we have the Hara line fully merged within our neutral center, this is why it's so significant. You have to have a neutral party, a positive and a negative. Neutral can't be God divided into, which is supposed to be the Mother, and then the Son. But of course, in the Holy Trinity, in Christianity, it's the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. You have those 3 aspects in order. And I've lost my concentration. Okay, but anyway, there are 3 levels of 3. That is necessary no matter what. 3 times 3 is 9. So you have 3. You get to the next plane, you will have 6. You get to the next plane and you will have 9. But of course, there's a higher aspect of self as well, which adds up to 12. What did Nikola Tesla say? 3, 6, and 9. When we line up the 3, 6, and 9 within our neutral center, we create the Hara line. This is where the cosmic egg, the golden embryo, can now settle within our healed womb or sacrum, and then that birthing takes place. So I hope I have made sense, and I know, please forgive me, guys, as I am trying to embody myself, take in myself, become myself, a lot of what is in my mind can take time to process within myself, and therefore it can be a little complicated to express. We have to have the neutral standpoint. The neutral standpoint, again, is the Holy Spirit. There's no judgment within the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit is pure forgiveness and pure love. That's why the heart is so important. Love is so important. It is neutral, non-judgmental. Then we will have, which is our center pillar within the tree of life. Then on the left and the right, we have the positive and the negative, the Jachin and Boaz within the tree of life. Those 2 sides, without the neutral aspects of the self, without the heart, are very judgmental. There's always this tug and pull between life. When we are full of fear, anxiety, or all of those lower expressions and emotions, we can't allow that sacred secretion to rise. There's no balance. Love is the only thing that can help filter, allow the sacred secretion, which is living water within us. The CSF is the living water to create the 12 cell salts that is necessary to be produced within the chemicals of the brain, which will produce DMT, which many people try to recreate in this reality to end up feeling like they are out of body. Your body has the ability to have everything in its perfect balance, in its perfect state, in the state that God created us all to be. Now, I found it very uplifting in my perspective because I have always believed in a God source and in the Holy Spirit and in Jesus Christ. To see hydrogen now as a form of an expression of God source tells me that there is definitely a God. It tells me that God has its hand in all aspects of our lives and things and everything. It gives me more reason to believe in something that perhaps I don't know all about yet. Which means that I'm going to continuously reach for that presence. So this is what I believe is going to be the process through, what did I say, the full moon? I tell you, the full moon. And I know I'm getting a little ahead of the game here because I am missing the new moon, which is in Cancer. But it's okay. I hope this helps you guys, and again, I apologize for being all over the place. I am very excited, I am very emotional, I am very humbled, I am very grateful, and I am so ready to understand a little bit more. And so my expression might express all of those things that I am going through. This is Christy. Much love, health, and healing your way. I am bringing purpose to your life. Take care.